Hello Scorpio, welcome to your reading here on Dove and Serpent Tarot. Please hit the like button, leave a comment, and consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. Now this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Scorpio, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And there is an 8 of Cups. 8 of Cups. So we're going to take a look at that a little bit more deeply. Ooh, a lot of water already here. We're going to use our Dove and Serpent spread. A lot of air and water right here. Also, if there's anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know in the comments. And my cat says the same thing. So we will keep you all in our thoughts. Finishing up with the path of the serpent. Now we have fire and air. So we have water and air over here. We have fire and air over here. So the one constant is the air on both sides, right? So that's going to be interesting. Let's select our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. We're going to use the Waite Smith deck for this one. This will also be used for the extended reading, which you can find access to in the description box. The alien is going to sit on top of that card. We're not going to look at it until the very end. And hopefully that will, tie the reading together and give us the confirmation that we're looking for, okay? All right, so we've got this one major arcana here at the very end, that Emperor card. And that, I think, is really going to be the crown jewel of this whole thing. Because over here on the path of the dove, we have air, air, air. We have water, water, water. It's balanced, but it's just the two kind of energies. And over here we have fire, fire, fire with that Emperor energy, and then more air. But this air is in the position of kind of the obstacle, right? So I think that this seven of swords that we have here, it's in the position of our fears, our worries, our concerns, what we don't want, what our biggest obstacle is. I think this is really being kind of blown up over here on the path of the dove, right? All of this, I believe, is contained in this 7 of swords in this position. So the only thing that's preventing us from fully embracing our kind of emperor energy, right? Our creativity, our authority, our self-determination, our direction, our ambition is going to be this air energy, right? This is a blow-up version of that card. And what we started with was this 8 of Cups. I think you're a person who tends to fluctuate in their mood a little bit. I think that usually you're a very optimistic person. I think you're usually very, very cheerful. I think that you try to see the positive aspect of things. I feel like you're very friendly, you're very outgoing, but right now there's a little bit of, or recently at least, there was a little bit of a dip in that kind of cheerfulness. A little bit of the water, I think, has drained out of things a bit. And we do kind of see that with this air energy up here, kind of pushing some of this water down, The water is kind of, is funneling or channeling down because of the weight of this air energy that's up top, I think, okay? So the 8 of Cups here, this is kind of like we are in a situation where we're trying to, bail out a boat. You grab like a bucket or a cup or your hat or something, and you're trying to scoop the water out as fast as you can to keep the boat from sinking. I feel that's like kind of what we're doing in some situation right now. We're trying desperately to save something that is just, maybe we could slow down the sinking of this boat, but it's going down, right? So by bailing out this water, we might be buying ourselves a few extra minutes, but it doesn't change the outcome, okay? And I think that there may be, with all of this air here, gosh, there might be an air sign person in your life that you are in this kind of situation with, okay? we see these two court cards here. These two air court cards that are, above and on the side of all of this water energy. And I think it has something to do with in particular, this Prince of Swords, this air sign person, probably an air sign, or at least they have some air prominently in their chart somewhere, okay? I feel like this is kind of this is a symbol of the relationship that we're in. It might not be romantic, could be platonic, could be business, could be a family member, could be a friend, okay? But I feel like we're in a situation with them where we're trying to just bail out water. We're trying to keep this boat from sinking, but it's kind of a futile effort, right? And oddly enough, the Seven of Swords over here is the key word for this card is futility. It's futility. We keep working at something. We keep trying to do something that's just not, it's not exactly wasted effort, but it's not going to result in what we are hoping it would, okay? So I feel like this is you trying to really save something that is just kind of beyond that point right now, right? This is a ship that's going down despite our best efforts to bail out the water, because for some reason more water just keeps rushing in. This is the Ten of Cups. This is the flood of more water, and this could be really more intense feelings, the kind of this could be a point in the relationship where there's just too much, a state of too much volatility. And I know that's kind of a paradox, but it's almost as if when the two of you are in the same room, or when you communicate, when you see each other, there's just this overwhelming rush of this water energy, and it just feels like it feels like you're kind of in like jello, you know what I mean? It just feels really, really heavy, almost suffocating. It's difficult to move around in this environment. It's just kind of become not exactly a toxic relationship or environment, but it's an uncomfortable one at the very least, okay? And I don't know exactly what the issue is, though I do see this Eight of Swords in the background. The Eight of Swords in the background, I feel maybe that this person in your perception of this situation, that they are in some way holding you back or hindering your progress, or that they have a different idea of how your life should go. Now, this could be a family member, right? It could be a sibling. Could be mom or dad, aunt or uncle, grandma, grandpa. It could be a friend. It could be a romantic partner or a spouse or something like that. But I feel like what is behind all of this is this feeling of being restricted. We said that it's kind of like jello, like you're kind of in this gelatin-like substance where it's difficult to kind of move around. You can still move, but it takes a lot of effort to get anything done, right? It's very uncomfortable. It's difficult to really breathe. You feel like you're kind of being squeezed, and the movement feels very hindered, very impeded. And with this Eight of Swords, it's a lot like that, but this is kind of more related to our perception of the situation, right? And ultimately, it is putting ourselves in this position where we're not allowing ourselves the freedom of movement, okay? So I don't feel like this other person, your friend, your family member, is necessarily doing this to you. But I feel like the dynamic between the two of you, like what I mean is I don't think it's intentional, right? I think it's just part of their nature, part of your nature, that when the two of you come together, it creates this kind of tension, right? So I think that you feel restricted by this situation. You feel like your freedom is impeded, your free will is being challenged, the environment is not one where you can breathe easy, And I feel like in some ways it's you've kind of been accepting this a little bit. You've kind of almost just kind of succumbed to this and just said, well, okay, this is how it is. Because again, all this water energy is kind of draining down. It's not dissipating. It's not like, they're not rivers that all run to the ocean. This is water that's just kind of collecting, right? And as much as we try to bail out the water to somehow make the best of this and somehow fix this dynamic, this relationship, we end up with a Queen of Cups down here at the bottom beneath the path of the dove. And I think this is the collection of all of this water energy, all of these different feelings, all of the mixed feelings that go in with this, because I think there's a lot of love, or the attempt to love here with this person. I feel as if it's kind of a love-hate thing, to be honest, because we have the water and air over here, we have the fire and air. So there's a lot of love, there's a lot of hate, there's a lot of sadness, a lot of joy, there's a lot of pleasure, a lot of pain, there's a lot of there's a mixture, let's just say that, okay? And I feel like it's difficult for you now to really, because there's all these different, flavors of water in here, it's difficult for you to really understand or get a clear perception of how you really feel about all of this stuff, about what you really want, how you really feel, and what the truth really is for you, because this Queen of Cups is behind a veil. There's so much water here that it's difficult to see through it all, okay? And I feel as if this is the card that needs to be addressed, okay? I think the Emperor here at the end of the path of the serpent is going to be the card to address this, because the Emperor has that clear perception. It is a fiery card. It has that clear perception, that awareness, that discernment, right? To see through this veil, to see through this water, to clear out the mud and the muck from this water, so that we can see ourselves clearly, we can understand how we feel, with a level of confidence that is going to inspire action, And I really think that clear perception is what's needed. Here's the Queen of Swords now. And I think this is the way forward. This is trying to rise above all of the water, trying to get as high up as we can to get the best vantage point. And it may be that you really have to ascend quite high to get out of some of this water, to get away from this situation, to get, in some ways, to get far away from your feelings about it, to get away from this overwhelming water, so that we can see the water clearly and see what's really at the bottom of it. We could see what's going on within us and get to the real heart of how we feel, right? No pun intended. Because I feel like as we're here in this boat and we're bailing this water out, we don't really have time or opportunity to consider, to contemplate, to kind of ruminate on how we feel about this, because we're so busy bailing water. So we need to step away for a moment. We need to get a bit of clarity and see really through this veil. We need to be emotionally transparent with ourselves, right? About how we're perceiving this situation and what it means to us and what we think is the right move, okay? Because I feel that there is a resolution here. There is we've got this Emperor waiting for us. There is a joy and a confidence and a progress and that self-determination, that self-directing energy that's waiting for us. We have to get in this fire mode, honestly. And this Knight of Wands down here in your general energy, that's pure fire. That is the fire that just says, you know, that maybe takes all of this perception, this air energy from this Queen of Swords, this vantage point, this discernment that we are really trying our best to utilize, trying to be as objective as possible, trying to be as reasonable as possible, even though this is a lot of water energy. You know, emotion and logic don't really mix very well. But we're trying, and I think that through that effort, we might find ourselves inspired to action. We might get the impulse to do something about this, to maybe to stop trying to bail out the boat and just say, screw it, I'm just going to swim to shore. Right? It's probably, shore might not be that far away. So the idea that we have to save this relationship comes to this Eight of Swords back here, and it could be a feeling of guilt or responsibility or some kind of a debt that we feel. We're beholden to this person or this energy. It could be a family, it could represent even a boss, a coworker, could represent the company as a whole, could represent your family as a whole, or specific elements in your life, specific energies within you. But for some reason, we're convinced that we need to stick with this person or this entity, this energy, at all costs. So no matter how much of this overwhelming emotion and maybe some of this 10, because it's a 10 of Cups, right? It's not supposed to be all bad. This is usually a very good card. But this can be an overwhelming card. This is so much emotion that it's lost touch with why it's even here, right? This is having so much around you that you forget why you've been collecting all of this stuff, you know? This is a large buildup of emotion that's so cut off from the source, so cut off from spirit, that we don't know why it's here, right? It doesn't know why it's here. It's just a mix of feelings all over the place, an overwhelming feeling, and underneath it all is just this Eight of Cups. It's, you know, it may seem like a good thing that there's a lot of this kind of emotional volatility here. But it really is, well, it really is kind of a futile endeavor, honestly. And it's not often that the tarot speaks in this with this kind of certainty. You know, if you're a follower of this channel, you know that I always say the tarot doesn't predict the future. The tarot won't tell you what to do. I won't tell you what to do. But in a situation like this, and I'm still not going to tell you what to do, but in a situation like this, the tarot is really indicating quite strongly that whatever you're doing to try to bail out this boat, to bail out the water, right, to save this sinking ship is not going to, you're not going to save it. Okay. Now, this might be the relationship, this might be the business, might be a company, it might be an idea that you're holding on to. It's represented by the Prince of Swords. Now, it could be a person, it could be a company, an idea, a project, whatever. You're trying to save it, but there really is no saving it. Okay. It's difficult for you to see that right now because you're right in the middle of it, bailing out the water. So we need to step back. And stepping back, getting a different vantage point will give you the impulse to change direction, to change course, or to maybe continue bailing out the water. That's completely on you, right? But you're going to get the inspiration to move. This horse is going to carry you in a direction, okay? It's that fire on fire energy. There's no thought or feeling involved. It's just you get the inspiration to do it and you do it. Instantaneously, there's no thought. There's no consideration, okay? And this, I think, is a good thing because continuing to do exactly what you're doing now is not going to work. The tarot is saying that. So whatever this inspiration is, whatever fire this horse catches, I think is worthy of being explored at the very least, because what comes next is a real strength. This is the connection between fire and water. This is kind of the way that we use all of this overwhelming emotion and we transmute it into conscious energy, into consciousness, into fire, into spiritual direction, inspiration, right? Our determination to move in this new direction. And this is a real strength. This is a real resolve. This is a real confidence in your decisions. So if we choose to continue bailing out this boat, this water, you have to make sure that you are absolutely 100% committed to that, because it's going to be a test of your willpower. If we choose to go and be led by the horse in this new direction, that needs your 100% commitment. That needs your head and your heart to be in the same place, right? Because that is going to require all of your effort to do that. So it is kind of a taking of this water energy and trying to transmute that into willpower. It's almost this water becomes the gasoline for your engine, you know. And I don't know exactly what this situation is. We don't see any earth cards today, so it's hard for me to say that this is business or this is something related to your home. You know, I can see that there is this dynamic, there is this relationship here, but I don't know if it's between you and a person, you and an entity or an organization or the company you work for, etc. Okay, so that's where your skills are going to have to come into this and make the connections. All right. So we talked about the Seven of Swords a little bit and how this is kind of an encapsulation of the entire path of the dove. This is a futile effort. I don't think it really needs much more explanation than that. It's pretty straightforward. Sometimes the tarot can be very blunt. And this is one of those times. Whatever you're doing right now with this thing is not going to lead you anywhere. It's not going to result in anything other than more of the same. Okay. So it's not necessarily that we need a different approach or we need to alter things a little bit or like just kind of tweak our plans or our methods here. No, it's saying this effort to bail out this ship is not going to succeed. And it's not often, it's kind of rare that the tarot is this blunt. But ultimately, we have the Emperor here. And the Emperor is saying that whatever you choose to do, you make sure that it's your choice, that it's you doing the choosing, right? That we're not being manipulated or gaslighted or convinced by this situation or the other entities involved to continue doing this, that we're not being overrun by our own emotions and continuing doing what we're doing here. We'll see the Emperor just knock the Queen of Cups right out of position there. So that, I think this is, because I mentioned earlier that it's going to be the Emperor that will deal with this Queen of Cups. Okay? The Queen of Cups is so much emotion that we can't see it. We can't see ourselves in the midst of all of this, right? We're behind this veil that there's so much going on with this, you know, emotionally that we cannot see, excuse me, we cannot see ourselves. Well, this Emperor is this fire energy that's building up over here that will basically evaporate some of this water, you know, that will purify this water so that we can see ourselves again. Okay? And it's not to say that your emotions have no business here. It's not to say that you need to be all fire all the time. But too much fire, we need to bring in a little water. Too much water, we need to bring in a little fire. And that's what we're doing right now, I think. And this is the way that we can begin to see this situation clearly. And this is kind of this is the solution to the problem, and then this is also the result of the solution, right? You have to act in this Emperor energy, and then you will become even more like this Emperor energy, which is not being overrun by your emotions, not being overrun even by your logic or your reasoning. This Emperor is being informed by spirit. Okay, there's a spirit behind this Emperor. Now, the Emperor considers the emotions, considers the logical arguments for things, considers its own needs and the physical reality of the situation, but the decision transcends all of those factors, right? Those are just components. Those are just variables in the equation. And that, I think, is the position from which you can really affect change in your life. And you can really begin doing what you are inspired, what Spirit is telling you to do with your life, right? And if it doesn't, you don't have to be religious. You don't have to call it Spirit. It could be your true self. It could be your conscience. It could just be the higher aspects of your mind that knows what you should be doing with your life. But it's just so hard to do when we're overcome by all of this water energy, right? I think we've all been in a situation like that where we kind of know that we should be doing something else, but we're just so wrapped up in what we're doing. We're so overwhelmed by how it feels, by just all of the factors involved. And then we start to feel a little bit guilty that we're not doing what we know we should be doing because we're doing this. Well, that's some Eight of Swords action. But the Emperor can transcend all of that, and it's not an easy task. But when you get here, I think it will be easier for you to discern the direction of your life, to make decisions that will bring you closer to your goal, to your happiness, your success, and that's what we really want, right? So let's move to the mystery card now. The alien has been waiting patiently. Thank you, alien. Maybe some earth energy, because we didn't have any of that. We didn't have any earth energy at all. Well, no, now we have a Three of Wands. We have more fire energy. This is fire energy now. Perhaps as a result of all of this, this is a Three of Wands. The three is about understanding, right? It's about not just knowing something, but really understanding its place in the world, right? Understanding all of this water energy. What was its significance? What was its higher meaning? What was its deeper meaning, right? Not just the obvious surface level knowing about it, but really a deep understanding of what all of this was about. And how does that affect your understanding of, let's say, this fire energy, of that spiritual impulse, that force and fire, right? That self-determination, your confidence, your Emperor energy. This is the Emperor with a real, this is kind of, at night as the sun's going down, the Emperor just kind of takes a walk around the empire and kind of communes with that invisible force, that source of power, source of that Emperor energy, and is able to understand their own place in the world and the necessity for situations like what we saw in the path of the dove, and the lesson involved in shifting from the water to the fire, overcoming something like this that's holding us back or restricting us or overwhelming us, and having the strength and the power to overcome things like that. This is a real knowledge of spirit. It's a knowledge of self. You don't have to believe in spirit. This is an understanding of the deeper significance of events, a deeper understanding of your own role in your life, if that makes sense. Okay. And this is you simply having boundaries. This is you knowing when enough is enough. This is understanding when all of this water energy goes from you trying to do something good to it being just a futile effort. Right? This is you knowing and really understanding when enough is enough. Having boundaries. Right? So I think this is a very important confirmation card. Now we're going to do an extended reading. If you want to stick around, please click on the link that's right up here. I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for letting me read for you. Thanks for watching this video all the way through. That really helps out the channel. Please hit the like button. Subscribe if you have not already. And I'll see you again very soon.